This Jonathan, the question is, should I move my business from my home to an office? This individual has the opportunity to make a deal where for essentially $240 a month they could have an office. So their trading services and the cost to perform those services equates to $240 a month. And so should they leave their home office and move to a true office? Is it worth the money? It depends. I'm actually not as hip and fond of this whole idea of having all your workers be remote as a lot of people are. So, but that could just be because I haven't figured it out yet. But from a training of salespeople and working with your team and really molding and building an environment that there's a level of excitement and energy, and building an environment where you know exactly what's being said and you can really work closely with the person to help them really get to their highest level of performance, then I tend to prefer more of an environment where everybody's inside the office. However, if you are in a scenario where it's just you, if you're working at home and it's quiet and you can focus, then it's okay. My personal preference is I still prefer to work. At night, I tend to work at the house, but during the day, I always work from an office. And I like that better because I have kids, and I do not believe if you have kids, you can be highly productive. I think it's impossible. If they're at home all the time, absolutely no way you can be productive. If they come home from school at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, no way you can be at your top priority or top your most productive. If you have a spouse that is with you at the house and she doesn't, or he or she doesn't work with you, and they're constantly wanting to talk or do things, you can't be at your peak performance. And so I'm a big believer in the office environment. But I will also say that there are times in the office environment you have all kinds of problems where everybody's asking you questions, you never get a break, you can't focus. And so in those cases, sometimes I do prefer to work from the house or prefer to work somewhere else. But if you set up your office environment properly where you can just close the door and say, when my door's closed, you cannot bother me, so that you get blocks of time where you can focus, then that still works in the office environment. My point is, what I see with most home environments, and maybe it's my own prejudice because it's what I've experienced, but what I generally see, and from talking to others, what I tend to believe is the environment is perceived to be highly efficient, but there's a lot of interruptions from family to kids to quick errands to things you would have never been bothered with or asked to do had you not been at home. And also, if your home is your office, and this is one I'm really guilty of, but if your home is your office, you can almost never separate yourself from work. At least if you have an office, you can somewhat feel like you're entering a new environment, and maybe you're still take a call here or there, but you're not in the business mode when you can go to an office, leave some of it behind, and come home. I think that's really, really important. And that's been a hard one for me personally. And so I think that the office helps force you to be more efficient in a sense so that you get your work done at the office and you come home and maybe you have a little more family time, a little less focused on work. Now, maybe you go back and do some work in the evening from your house, but my point is it makes it a little bit easier to leave some of the work at the office. I like that about an office. So I think as long as if you have a bunch of employees in the office, if you can close your door and focus, the office is better. But if you don't have that, then the office can be just as bad as working from the house. If it's just you on your own, I still prefer an office. I used to have a little office that was just 10 by 30 square feet that was rented just for me. For years, that's where I went by myself and worked so that I could get out of the house. And I found it to be far more productive than working from the home. But know that I have 2 kids and a wife. And so I think getting out of the house really helped. Good luck.